Hi Aquarius, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. Also, happy early birthday to those of you who celebrate in January. And also, hope you guys are having a good holiday season and have a good new year. This is your January 2023 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who like, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, the Celtic Cross spread as always. And also pulled the Four Agreements, Wisdom, Oracle, and Mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. All right, so we have Capricorn, and Capricorn is actually your 12th house. 12th house generally points to spirituality, blind spots, and mental health. There's, of course, going to be plenty of Capricorn energy going through that sign in January, but the main thing that comes to mind is we'll have the Mercury retrograde going on there. All right, and we also have Venus. So Venus will actually be in Capricorn the first few days of January, but then it's going to move into your sign. And we have 4. So 4th house energy for you guys is Taurus. And of course, we've had Uranus there for a long time and also the North Node. All right, so we'll follow that away. We'll get started with the main spread. Oh, and also I should add 4th house points to home, family matters. All right, so in the main situation position, we have the High Priestess and the 6 of Cups. And challenging that, we have the 6 of Swords. So this is actually Aquarius energy here. Seeing these two cards here, I feel like this is saying that you might start to feel like you want to reconnect with someone from your past, but the challenge there might be that you were the one who left the situation behind, right? So you're like, okay, well, I'm the one who kind of left, so how exactly would I go about coming back, right? Now, for others of you, this could also point to some healing around your inner child as well. That's probably a little less likely, I do have to say, given what I'm seeing here, but that's at least a possibility for some of you as well. And if that's the case, if it's more around healing with your inner child, it could just be sound challenges just to get out in nature for a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be a huge vacation or anything, but just any way you could reconnect with nature and ground a little bit would help. Right, in a foundation position, we have the Emperor. So this is Aries energy here, and for you guys, that's your 3rd house communication. So yeah, it could just be saying that maybe part of what has you feeling a little bit guarded too is you might feel like you might be misunderstood when you communicate, or possibly you don't see how you come across when you communicate. Because given that this is 3rd house energy for you guys, we see obviously he's wearing a lot of armor, right? So it could just be one of those things where there might be some issues when it comes to your communication, as far as, like I said, maybe you come across to people as more aggressive than you mean to, or it could just be one of those things where it's a bit of a blind spot for you in general when it comes to communication. But the good thing is we're going to have Jupiter in Aries for around a little over half the year, so that should definitely help you guys as far as your communication goes. All right, past position, we have the Page of Wands and the World. So yeah, I feel like this is saying that in the past, you might have actually taken action around the situation and had a successful completion. Now, interestingly enough, given what they're looking at, maybe when you did leave that connection behind, that was a successful completion around that situation, right? So, and maybe part of you knows that too, so that could be why there's some resistance on your parts where you're feeling like you want to reconnect with that situation, but knowing that, you know what, though, I know that was meant to be in the past, I'm going to leave it there, right? And if that's the case, keep in mind you guys do have a Mercury retrograde happening in the first few weeks of January in your 12th house. So 12th house could bring up a lot of things. You know, I mean, we talked about it when I showed you guys the Capricorn dice, but yeah. So it could just be one of those things where it's just drudging up those memories from the past, but it could be a temporary phase where, like, a week, well, not a week, maybe a month from now, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm totally over that. I'm glad I didn't reach out, right? So you have to feel that out, but we'll see as we go along with the spread. Present position, we have the 9 of Swords. So yeah, this could just be saying you're experiencing a lot of anxiety right now. This is Gemini energy, actually, but yeah, it could just be saying that your thoughts can be overwhelmed, right? Now, if that's the case, then you might have to feel that out, right? Like, well, maybe it would be best to reach out, right, just to get the closure, if nothing else, right, to finally truly put it behind you. So, like I said, you're going to have to weigh that out. Each person's situation is going to be a little bit different, but looks like you could just have a lot of anxiety around the situation. All right, in the near future position, we have the King of Swords. So this is actually the court card for your sign. So good thing is it looks like this would be more of a temporary thing for sure, because this shows you feeling back in your zone, right? Feeling more like yourselves. I mean, it could be as simple as pointing out the fact that, like we said, as we get toward the end of January, we're going to be moving into Aquarius season. So maybe as the planets start to move into your sign, you're going to feel a lot better. Whereas things moving into your 12th house could feel a little bit more dreamy, and quite frankly, when your 12th house is Capricorn, it can feel a little bit heavy too. So could just be saying that there's really just the transits that are at play this month for you guys. All right, in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Queen of Cups. So yeah, this could just be saying that you're feeling pretty guarded, right, around how you're feeling around the situation. You're not necessarily expressing how you're feeling, right, and that could have even been a blockage in the past that might have caused some issues for you. But yeah, I mean, this is the only cup in the entire cup suit that has a cover on it, so that's why I'm getting with that, right? And we see she's right at the edge of the water, but not in it, right? So it's like you're close to being able to express yourself emotionally and what you're going through, but something holds you back from doing so. Right now, like I said, maybe it's because in the past you've been misunderstood when you have expressed yourself in that way. So it could just be one of those things that you have to lend yourself healing there, and that could be what the Six of Cups beneath the High Priestess is pointing to. All right, in the environment position, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So this is the card that represents Jupiter, and like we were just talking about with the Aries energy, that's where Jupiter is going to be for quite a few months. So again, could just be saying that, yeah, maybe this is a good time for you to speak up, to share your voice, right? And it actually might be received a lot better than you may have been accustomed to in the past. So whether this is just a one-to-one relationship where that expression could come across a lot better, or just in general. Looks like that's what this is saying, that you're kind of being nudged to communicate in some way this month. Like I said, keep in mind, yes, we will have the Mercury retrograde, but that's more of a long-term thing anyway than just this Mercury retrograde that'll clear out later on in the month. All right, in the Hopes or Fears position, we have the Page of Pentacles. So yeah, this could just be saying that you might hope for some stability, right? You might feel like it's a little bit out of your reach right now, but seeing this here says that it's usually pretty close when you're feeling that. It's just, I mean, if you look at the artwork, that pentacle was just out of the reach of his hands, right? So it's like it's pretty close. You could see the goal in front of you, right? But it's just taking that next step. And like I said, it looks like you guys just might be having a lot of anxiety around the situation right now, but everything says that this looks like it's going to be a pretty temporary thing. So that's definitely a positive there. All right, and in the outcome position, we have a few cards. We have the Chariot, which is Cancer energy again, Knight of Cups, Pisces energy, and Four of Pentacles, Capricorn energy. So what I'm really getting with this combination of cards, I feel like the Chariot is saying that you're being nudged forward in some way, like we briefly were talking about there. But here I feel like it's to be open and vulnerable, right? Because we see like I was talking about there, this is the only card that has a lid on the cup, and that's in the position of your influence in the situation. Here we see the Knight of Cups with the forward movement and the open cup, right? But then we see the Four of Pentacles. So to me, if you look at these two together, they almost conjure up the image of the Queen of Cups, right? So I feel like this is saying that you're going to be feeling nudged forward to express yourself emotionally around the situation. Now, it doesn't have to be a romantic connection, could be a friendship, could be family as well, given that we saw the fourth house energy come up in your dice. But yeah, it looks like there's going to be some resistance to that. At the very least, this represents the last 10 degrees of Capricorn season, so could just be saying that at the very least in the middle of January, you're still not going to be ready to come forward and express yourself, but maybe as we get closer to the end of the month, when we get into Aquarius season, then you might feel more open and more expressive at that point. So that's what I see with that. And Bottom of the deck, we have the Hermit. So, yeah, this could just be saying in general, you guys have been a bit withdrawn lately, really reflecting. I mean, the High Priestess isn't the most out there sociable energy either, so it could just be saying that you've been a bit withdrawn lately. And we've explained the reasons why, right? Like I said, the silver lining there for sure is that looks like this is more of a temporary transit, or at least if it hasn't been, meaning that if you've been going through this type of energy for 6 months, let's say, at least it looks like it's saying that as we progress toward the end of January, you'll be feeling that energy pass. Saturn is going to be moving out of your sign later this year too, so obviously that'll help as well. All right, so moving on to your 4 agreements card, we have don't make assumptions, and it says learn to ask questions. Okay, it says it is always better to ask questions than to make assumptions. Have the courage to ask questions until you are as clear as you can be. Once you hear the answer to a question, you won't have to make assumptions because you will know the truth. Yeah, I mean, I do have to say, when it comes to, like I was saying, it looks like there's some resistance to opening up on your part, right? We see the anxiety with the 9 of Swords, and I was saying, well, for some of you, even if you're feeling like, this is just a temporary thing, I know that feeling will pass as far as reaching out to another person. If it has you in that state, then it could just be saying that, well, you know what, maybe it would be best to go out and get that closure, if nothing else, right? So hope that resonated with you. All right, next we'll move on to your Wisdom Oracle card. We have the Fates. There's the artwork, and the number is 17. See what that is to say in the book. All right, excuse me. Essential meaning says fate, karma, acceptance that there are things you cannot change, and knowing what those things are. The Oracle's message. The Serenity Prayer sums up the meaning of this card. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There are things in life you will never have control over. The conditions brought on by the evolution of the collective, by nature, by your past experiences may be fated, preordained by spirit for a greater purpose you cannot understand in this lifetime. It may not be in your cards to understand why certain events occurred, but you can accept the mystery and work with what those events and your current circumstances have to teach you. This is the wisdom contained in the Serenity Prayer. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there. Maybe you guys have gone through some heavier energy. Like I was saying, for some of you, it seems like this is a temporary transit, but maybe it's been going on a little bit longer than that for some of you. So hopefully that resonated. The relationship message says other people are who they are. You can't change them. The challenge is to accept them as they are and not try to make them otherwise to suit you. This is a time to look at how you attempt to mold people to fit your view of how they should be so you can remain in the relationship and avoid discomfort. What if who they are and whatever is happening between you and them in this situation is perfect from the perspective of spirit? Now is the time to accept what you cannot change, even if it means that you honor yourself, spirit, and the other person by moving on. Love unconditionally, for each of us is on our own journey, and we cannot direct that of another. Be aware that this relationship is indeed fated, and you are meant to evolve into a better version of yourself as a result of it. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there. Especially if if one way we could look at that Queen of Cups energy with the closed off cup there, right, could just be saying that maybe this is you holding on to the way a person once was, right? So, we all grow and change a bit over time. So could just be saying that you're holding on to the old image of what the person was and what they meant, right? And maybe that shifted over time. And it could just be saying that you have to look at that. Hopefully that resonated. All right, the prosperity message says your experiences concerning prosperity and abundance are beyond your control right now. You are being invited to accept what is unreservedly. This could be a temporary situation, seemingly thrust upon you by outside forces, but there is an underlying purpose you can't see that has been determined by the fates. It could be a situation you are unprepared for, and you may not understand how it will benefit you in a moment. Do not fight the situation. Ride it out and see where it leads. Surrender to it, and the serenity you need to make good choices from here on out will be given to you. You will indeed flourish. So yeah, it sounds like a pretty intense message there. Like I said, regardless of what the situation is, because there's plenty of different ways it could go with a general reading, I will say it really does seem, for the most part, that the energy will be clearing as we get toward the end of January. All right, so lastly, we have a mudra for you guys. This is your mudra here. It's the Trishula mudra, and the keyword for it is destruction. All right, there's the info on it if you want to pause it or take a screenshot to read everything on the card. But the benefits says removes obstacles on the spiritual path, serves as a spiritual weapon against ignorance, laziness, doubt, egoism, attachment, and aversion. So if that sounds like a mudra thing would be beneficial for you guys, I'll put the name in the description video as always. Once again, happy early birthday to those of you celebrating in January. And I hope you guys are having a good holiday season and a good new year. And I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.